This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.
Welcome back to Women's Wealth Wednesday. We're continuing our conversation about what to do financially if you are a recent widow. We're going through the checklist and kind of breaking it down with Foster Financial's Vice President, Caleb Doane. Good morning, Caleb.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you as well.
Yes. Okay, so the last time we spoke, you started off saying that people need to start with a financial checklist, right? To kind of see what documents they need to start gathering. And now there's a next step. So kind of give us just a quick little overview and then what is next.
Yeah, certainly. So of course this is a very difficult topic, but unfortunately one that a lot of people go through in retirement. And it's a really significant financial event when a spouse passes away, probably one of the most significant financial events that people will have in their entire life.
Right.
And so we want to make sure we're well prepared for it. So we have a checklist that we'll walk clients through in this situation, and they can kind of be categorized into gathering the right documents, contacting the right people, and then taking the right actions. So we talked a little bit about the documents last week that people would gather in this situation: death certificates, legal documents like wills and trusts, financial statements, bills, things like that. So this week we'll talk about contacting the right people, because there's a whole list of people that are really important to contact in the event that a spouse passes away.
Right, and this is for recent widows, but also something that people can keep in mind, even if you still have your spouse, to start planning ahead, to just stay abreast on what to do. So who are the people that people should contact? Yeah,
a few of the people on those lists would be the Social Security office, especially if the spouse was collecting Social Security. That's an important thing to do. When a spouse passes away, the higher of the two Social Security benefits from the two spouses will continue on. So if it's a wife and her husband passed away, if his Social Security was higher, his will continue for her, and then she'll lose her benefit. So you'll lose the lower of the two. So we need to contact the Social Security office to notify them of that. We also want to probably contact either the employer or the former employer of the spouse who passed away. Certainly if they were still working, that's a really important thing to do. But even if they were retired, there's a lot of benefits that it still might be important to contact the former employer, especially if there was a pension involved. Sometimes there's retiree life insurance that has continued on. And sometimes they might have just kept their 401k with their former employer and never rolled it over.
You never know,
So that's an important one to contact as well. And then a financial professional. If you work with somebody to manage your finances, certainly they need to be made aware of that. Oftentimes we're the first person that somebody will contact outside of family. We're kind of the first person that they'll contact to say, hey, a spouse passed away. Let's schedule a meeting, 2 or 3 weeks out after we get some of this personal stuff taken care of. And we have a lot of things prepped in advance for this. We often preach preparing in advance for everything. And so this is one of the things that we certainly prepare for. And we want to make sure that we can make that transition as easy as possible for people.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I mean, that time is so challenging because people are grieving and they're going through that life transition and so many things to think about. This is something that would be nice to be taken off their plate. What to do with all the logistics when it comes to the finances. And so you say that you already have the stuff set in place. So when they do come to you, is there anything that they should prepare? I'm thinking about, what is that conversation like when they first say, hey, this has happened? Yeah,
usually we try to take as much off their plate as possible. So oftentimes the main thing that we need from them is bringing in a death certificate, because a lot of times to transfer accounts and things like that, a death certificate is required. So we'll ask that of them, but a lot of times everything else we try to do on our own. So we'll have their legal documents on file, we'll make the transfers between accounts, we'll set up the income streams where it needs to be set up or changed. One of the things that we do too is we do a special tax strategizing session with them once everything kind of settles down, because one of the things to be aware of is we call this the widow's tax trap. But once a spouse passes away, you can file as a joint filer for that year that the spouse passed away, but then the following year, you're filing as a single filer. And so the tax brackets get compressed, your standard deduction gets lowered. There's a lot of things that change, and it can kick people into a higher tax bracket in future years.
Wow.
So usually there's special tax strategizing we need to do in the year that a spouse passes away. Maybe it's a bigger Roth conversion. Maybe we're withdrawing money from certain accounts, so then we don't have to do it in the future. There's a lot of things that we do in that year. Once somebody has kind of dealt with a lot of the personal things that happen, then we need to make sure we're taking care of them financially.
And about what time frame do you recommend after a passing to make sure that they are in contact with you?
Usually as soon as possible. Within a week, we typically ask people to reach out to us just so that we can get that whole process started to make it easier for them. We're doing a lot of that work in the background, but if they can give us a heads up, quickly, then that can be really helpful for us. That way we send flowers to the funeral home. We do a lot of that stuff for our clients as well. But we want to make sure we're taking as much off your plate as possible and avoiding any big financial mistakes. Because we've just seen folks maybe who don't work with a financial advisor who helps with this. A spouse passes away, they cash out the entire account or something like that, and that can cause huge tax ramifications and big issues down the road. So we prepare ahead of time to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so gathering documents, contacting the right people, and then on the next Women's Wealth Wednesday, we'll talk about taking action.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, thank you so much for this information, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And if you would like more information about Foster Financial, we'll have their website and phone number listed below. Again, this topic is a hard one, but it's so important to prepare. If you have not lost your spouse or if you are a recent widow, now is the time to take action. And I'll see you after the break.
This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.